and so she was very, very sorry that she couldn't come. She's fallen ill. As far as how the movie came to be, I'm a filmmaker in the U.S. and I came across a photograph of a woman holding her husband who had just been killed. And I could not shake this image from my head. Woke up thinking about it, went to bed thinking about it, and just felt compelled to understand further what had led to that. And so I found the journalist who had arranged the story, and I called her here in Manila. That's Rika, who ended up becoming our researcher. And she, on the phone from Los Angeles to Manila, told me story after story of different stories that she was covering and people that she was covering here. And I couldn't believe it and understand. And so she invited me to come to Manila and spend a couple weeks with her and the journalist friends and sort of do some ride-alongs. And there was a lot of really emotional scenes that we went to. Scenes where people, had lost a loved one due to the drug wars and this and that. And for me, I'm American. I had never been here before. I even asked myself, why do I feel the need to come and tell this story? But sometimes you are called in life to do something, and I felt that there was a higher presence that was compelling me to come do this. And so when I came, I was really amazed at just how welcomed I was by the Pinoy people, Filipino people, some of the nicest, warmest people I've ever met in the world, and just very optimistic and welcoming. And so through hearing people's stories, I realized more and more that this was something that I had to do. And so I did a lot of research. I really made sure, knowing as an outsider coming here to do a film, a local story in Tagalog language, that I would really have to know my research and make sure that it felt authentic. And so to me, it was really listening to people and making sure that their stories were authentic.
Did you find it challenging to do a project wherein you're not very familiar with the milieu?
With the milieus? Yes, there were challenges to making this film. I think because there was a very warm and welcoming community, both in the film side and also just in the public and the stories that we were talking to. The beautiful thing about cinema is that it's a universal language, and it's a window into the human condition. And so whether the film is in Tagalog or English or Hindi, there's a certain truth in the human experience. And that's the great thing about cinema, is that it can break down divides and allow you to walk in someone else's shoes. And so some of the challenges of language were not as difficult as one would imagine. Of course, Alessandra, Art, and Jake all very fluent in English, so it was easy to communicate between takes. And then in the middle of the take, I would just watch their eyes and see if they believed it. And if they did, then we knew we were getting what we wanted.
So how is it working with the Filipino cast and crew?
It was actually very, very beautiful and supportive. The cast and crew were willing to be so giving and supportive with their time. And I felt a lot of support in the process. And I think, sometimes when you're setting out to tell a story, the universe conspires for it to happen. And there's a certain lightning in a bottle that you catch. And in this case, everyone that was there believed in the story that we were telling and gave it 150%. And so, I've worked with a lot of actresses in the West, even like Academy Award winners, and the level of talent that Alessandra brought to this is incredible. It's very unique. I think she's a national treasure in a lot of ways, and I think she can win an Oscar one day. She's truly one of the greats, not just here, but in the world. And so I felt very fortunate to work with people like Alessandra and others who were not only incredibly talented, but very